how many people have great ideas but never write them down, right? And how many people say, I want to try something but don't do it?
Not every battle has a success story, but every success story has a battle. Hi, I'm Tia Minzoni, CEO and co-owner of luxury private jet company Stella Jets, a serial entrepreneur, a survivor, and your host of the Fight to Fly show. On Fight to Fly, I sit down with the world's highest achievers who share their incredible stories and lessons they've learned on their own Fight to Fly. Expect to be inspired, entertained, and motivated to break down the barriers between you and your high-achieving success story. Come back each week for a new episode and be ready to empower yourself to give your dreams wings. Welcome to the Fight to Fly show. Welcome to this week's Fight to Flight show. We're here today with Madeline and David Ricci. These guys are 8-figure serial entrepreneurs. They've been in several industries and proven their success across them all. We're super excited to learn from them today and hear more about their story. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. We appreciate y'all coming on, and I know y'all are super sought after because y'all help so many businesses and have been so successful across several fields. A lot of people specialize in this one thing, and I think it takes someone special to be able to be successful in almost everything that they do. And I know you guys as those people. So I cannot wait for y'all to share more of your story and success with our audience today.
Awesome. We're looking forward to it.
Awesome. So Madeline, you and I met a little over a year ago, and energies just connected, and now we've just had such a great friendship and built a great network. But that I was just talking to Rebecca Contreras, and she was like, she's so good at connecting people, and I was like, I know. And so you really have a heart and a talent for connecting the right people together, and I know that started early on in your story. So I'd love to hear more about your story, kind of how you got started in business, and in being an amazing connector as well.
Oh, thank you. So for me, I am very intentional in how I connect people. I believe that although I believe everybody belongs in the room, not everybody's supposed to be in the room. It's two kind of different things, right? But and I love connecting. I do kind of hear what the needs are for different individuals, and I just always have a bank of people that I can connect and help, connect.
Yeah, and I think your intentionality with that also comes from working with so many entrepreneurs and business owners in your own business that when people can help each other and when they should be connected to benefit each other.
Absolutely.
How did you get started in your first entrepreneurial role?
Well, in 2008, after 18 years of being in corporate, I had no choice in the matter. The mortgage industry crashed, and I needed something to kind of replace my income, and I went ahead and got into something that I already knew that there was a gap in the industry. And as I was telling you earlier, it was kind of a ignorance is bliss. I got in it not really expecting anything, and one would think, why would you get into an industry that is literally crashing and burning, right? But again, because ignorance is bliss, I just went ahead and said to David, I said, I want to do this. I think I can do it better. And as always, he's very supportive of me and said, okay. So here we go. And believe it or not, that business did make money within the first 30 days.
Wow.
And so, but I do attribute that to my tenacity, the grit that I had to replace my income and never go back to corporate. I had the opportunity to apply for any of those jobs and probably would have gone in, but I said, you know what? Why not do something different? I always really wanted to do it, and so I got to be very popular in the industry by really providing an exceptional customer experience.
That's amazing. And you said something that I hear in almost every single interview that I've done so far is that you made a decision.
Yeah.
Like no matter where it came out of, whether it was, ignorance or skilled or anything, I think the biggest factor in every success story I've heard is I made a decision and nothing was going to stop me after that.
I mean, luckily for me, right, I had David that was making great money. So, and we are not one of those people that swim in debt. So we could afford to do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I also got a really nice severance, right? That helped me, kind of launch the little business that I started.
Yeah.
And and today, 16 years later, that business has provided an incredible, both of our living, our style of living, and it's provided our daughter's education. It's provided so much for us, not only in the financially, but also in the self-development and how to really, truly see all angles of entrepreneurship.
Right. So this business you're talking about, tell us a little bit more about it and also about how you gained your clients with that business.
So that business is, we do closing service. Our main client is title business. The title industry is our client. And we do work with the 1%, top 1% of that industry. And how we started was, I had some clients that I was doing kind of after hours work where I was in corporate. And when I got laid off, I called them up and I said, well, I guess I am available 100% now. And so I can do your closings. So at first I did the closings. So I learned a lot. So I was able to gain all those gaps that were happening out in the actual closing table and help our network of agents to be the very best out there, so I did some myself. I was the one man show. I mean, I was a solopreneur, and the way we gained some of those clients, it was by delivering an exceptional customer service so they feel confident in the level of service that we were going to provide to their clients, which was their main focus, right? And then after that, every time they moved, they took us with them. So we never really had to pay for advertising. We were the marketers, right? How we did business different than everybody else was what made our name. And then after that, it's just spread like a wildfire.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there's a lot to be said for customer experience, right? David, you and I were talking about that earlier, about you can have an amazing business, but if you don't have a good customer experience, no matter how much money you spend on marketing, or, you're just not going to be as successful as you could be if you had a good customer experience.
That's really true. And I just want to piggyback on something that Madeline said. Is one of the things that when we were making that first decision to go into the entrepreneur space and open that business, we looked at it, and I tell clients this now. Sometimes in the down market is the best time. If you've got the money to invest, right, and you have the time to invest, you can really change an industry, because what most legacy companies are doing is contracting. And now you're growing. And when we hit that market, first of all, it wasn't a large number of companies like us. There's a lot more now than there were then. But people were like, wait a minute, you do this. And we positioned it as a way of helping them reduce their costs by allowing them to expand their capacity. So the really good companies we were working with were able to go out and talk to more companies. So it really is sometimes in the business world, you have to look at it. It may not be the euphoric time to open a business, but it may be just the best time.
Yeah, you've heard Warren Buffett say you need to buy when there's blood in the streets.
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah,
True. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's what we did. And we started
Without knowing.
And then when we got our first national client, that's a story for another day. But it was really exciting, because that's when we started really growing, and we moved from. We always had an office. We never really wanted to run our business out of the home. So we had an office, and then we had to expand, and we had to hire, and and so it was unique for our business. And the one thing that we committed to is really always delivering an exceptional experience. And in our industry, in all industries, it's about communication. If you're not communicating with your client and your customers, and in our case, our clients had clients, and it was our client's customer. So we had to deliver the greatest experience to the customer, even though it was one of our agents doing it, but we had to make sure we were managing that whole flow. And that's really what built our brand, is not only do we have industry experience, and we were able to handle the questions that were coming in without needing additional guidance from our clients, the customers came back and reviewed it and said, this is amazing. We need more of this. And so that's to me, that's what it's all about in any business. It's, delivering an exceptional experience that will really, it's your own best advertising.
Yeah,
For sure.
And we see that across your other businesses as well as along with your philanthropy, right, efforts.
Yeah.
So tell me more about your Trustedpreneurs.
So Trustedpreneurs is, it started initially as just an idea that, we've learned a lot, right? We've had a couple businesses, we've had successes, and we've had not failures, but really good learning opportunities that cost us a little bit of money.
Right, yeah. Had a few of those.
Yeah. So, but we never looked at it as a failure. We only looked at it as, what can we learn and how can we do this better the next time? And we both want to help entrepreneurs, whether they're brand new or they've been in business a little bit and they've been stuck for a while, how to navigate those challenges, right? And so Trustedpreneurs is a business success strategy coaching business. We do it a little different than everybody else. We have a complete mindset component with goal setting, and then we move into our process. And our process is a 9-step process. It's usually a 2-day session that we really dive deep into their business. And we enjoy it so much because for me, it's a little bit of what I've always loved to do, and I've got a lot of teaching in my background from a standpoint of my whole family in some shape, form, or fashion was either a trainer or a teacher. And so I think it was my calling to actually ultimately do it. And when you sit there and you're working with someone, like we were talking to somebody the other day, and it was just amazing when you see the light bulb. And it's not like they didn't know, they needed somebody to help them get there. And so we're guides to help them to be what they can truly be.
Yeah, that's amazing. And there's a lot of companies out there that are doing, business coaching, business consulting, and, y'all's approach is really, it's a whole approach, right?
Yeah.
To find what is holding you back. Is it personal? Is it professional? Is it, employees, et cetera, et cetera. I know y'all go deep into that. I think that makes a huge difference than somebody just saying, do A, B, C, and they tell everybody kind of the same stuff.
What we didn't want to be is just known like everybody else as accountability coaches. We can do that, but we really want to build a blueprint for someone to be successful. And one of the things, as in business and in personal, since we're business partners and we've been married for 23 years, that whole understanding of roles was critical. We learned this early on, that she's the visionary and I'm the integrator. Initially, though, when we first started doing stuff together, it was like we were tripping over each other, not understanding why. And one of the first things we do is we try to figure out what role the person, the entrepreneur, really is. And then we do this whole resource assessment and then skills assessment right around that. So we really find out where they should be playing in the business,
Right.
so that they are actually maximizing their opportunities.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. In my business, I'm the visionary, and Jasmine, my daughter, is the what'd you call? I started to say executioner. That's not it, but
Integrator.
Integrator.
integrator. Yeah, she makes it all happen.
Yeah.
I have an idea, and she's like, "Oh, not another one."
So funny. There's 2 times that there's a few words that I really do not like to hear, and it's usually right when I wake up and right before I go to bed. It's, I got an idea. And I'm like,
Or I was thinking.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Yeah.
not now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this sounds like a lot of work. Yeah. I get that for Jasmine.
But if she didn't have them, we wouldn't be where we are today.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. Y'all
Some
make
are
a great team.
Yeah, we do. We do. And some are great, and some are not so great. He's
Yeah.
like,
It's good. Yeah. It's good to have that. And when you help, you and I were talking about this earlier as well. And I mentioned this a few times to friends, because when I was in marketing, you know, my whole career background was in marketing, and I'd run across business owners who maybe they were a chef or they loved to cook, and so they opened a restaurant, but they didn't know how to run a business or market a business, or, you know, a dentist or a doctor, they're really good at what they do, but they don't necessarily know how to run a business or market a business. It goes across all fields. So having people like you guys that can really say, hey, you're good at this, stay in your lane, hire somebody that's really good at what you're not good at, and watch yourself soar. And I think a lot of business owners that are just starting out, including myself sometimes, have a hard time biting off payroll, right? Like, oh, but I could just do it and save myself this amount of money. What do you say to people that have that hurdle to get over?
So
good.
Two things. I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead. The bootstrapping.
We have this discussion all the time with clients. Yeah. It's about bootstrapping, right? And the first thing we do is we say that, you know, you can build a business by bootstrapping. It's going to probably cost you more. And what I always tell people is this: if you don't have time to do it the right way the first time, when will you have time to redo it? And so what we do is we talk to them, like I said earlier, about what role they want to play, what are their skill sets that they have, what can they do, what can't they do, what should they do, what shouldn't they do. And then we tie that to a number and we put it to an economic term. And we explain to them, if you are going to do this and you're still working in your business and you're trying to work on your business and you're trying to do all this, there's a cost to that, and they have to understand what that cost is. And 90% of the time, the cost is less than the revenue that they could earn if they hired somebody to do it. Right. And get it up quicker, right? Yeah. So that, and we were talking about this earlier, and the whole manager versus owner concept, and that's really where Madeline comes in, is really helping newer entrepreneurs, especially the ones that you just described, where it's a chef and I'm going to open up a business. Well, you're probably wonderful running a kitchen. Running a business is different. So moving from that mindset of manager to owner, it's a game changer. And it was for us because we both came out of corporate.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I think that we try to do that as well. I mean, we have literally a life example of one of our businesses that we did some things very well, and we did it like a franchise level, and some things we bootstrapped because we didn't see guidance. And let me tell you something, I will encourage anyone, it doesn't matter, do the research, hire a coach. It is so worth it because it'll save you in the long run.
Yeah,
it really will.
And find someone who's been successful in doing what you want to, in other words, reaching the level that you want to reach. There's so many coaches out there right now, and there's a place for all of them, right? Yes. I mean, there's 9 million types of tennis shoes, right? And there's a place for all of them. I feel the same way about just about every business. But when you're looking for a coach for you, make sure that it's someone that's reached a level that you want to reach. I think that's very important. And that's why I wanted to bring you guys on, because you guys have, you know, I always say the fastest way to succeed is to fail. Like, fail as fast as you can. I met someone out at the Aspire Tour in Santa Clara, and her husband works for one of the biggest tech companies in the country, in the world actually, and she was starting her own business, but she wasn't really passionate about it. She just wanted to make some money on the side, and she said, there's things I want to do, but I'm really afraid to fail. And I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a poster board or a big sheet of paper and put 50 boxes on there. And you're going to fail 50 times before you actually succeed. So every time you have a failure, go and check off a box so that you can see your growth along the way and stay motivated instead of beating yourself up. And I think to have coaches who come in and say, you know, in my first month, I did $1 million on whatever. And you're like, wait a minute. Well, how many times did you fail? Because I need to know that when I fail, you can lead me back to success. And, you know, just knowing y'all's story and how many times you've been successful, I know that there's been failures along the way where you fell forward, maybe flat on your face like me, right? I always fall
Yeah.
flat on my face, but when I get up, I'm a little bit, a few feet ahead of where I was when I fell the first time.
Yes.
And I think that that's really, that's a really good coach for people that have big goals and aren't afraid to take risk.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can be afraid. And you can, it's okay, but do it anyways.
Yeah, do it anyways.
Do it anyways. And that's always been my thing. And so, I'm not going to say I have never been scared or I had fears about what the possibilities, but then you know what? But what if I succeed, right? I mean, so it's a 50-50 chance and you have to be able to take that chance.
Yeah. I was just going to say, doing what y'all do, you're helping people live the life they dream, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
There's agents out there that help musicians and actors and, NFL players reach their dreams. But when you're doing what you do, you're helping people reach their dreams as well, who want to own businesses and be successful. And if they don't have leadership like you guys, their dream could not go so well. So I'm glad you guys are doing that.
Thank you.
Well, I was just going to say, last night it was interesting. We were at an event, and I was listening to somebody, and I wish I could take credit for it, but I didn't say this. And she said, how many people have great ideas but never write them down, right? And how many people say, I want to try something but don't do it?
Yeah.
And if we can inspire anybody to at least talk to somebody and see if it's viable, right? Or maybe today's not the right day, but are there things that you can do to prepare to be ready for it? I think entrepreneurship is an interesting thing. You have to be ready for it, but the best motivator is when you weren't planning for it, right? Because you have no alternative, right?
Yes.
And when you have no alternative, that gives you drive.
Yeah.
And so use the fear. The fear is good.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Afraid is a pushback, but fear, that tells you to be concerned, right? It gives you energy. And so I don't think it's a bad thing. You should always be confident, but
Well, it keeps us safe,
Yeah.
right? That is just an emotion that keeps us safe. But we have to be able to tell ourselves, it is okay, fear. Talk to fear, right? It's okay, fear. I am safe. I can do this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just understanding who you are, what you're about, and really your convictions,
Yeah.
right? How bad do you really want
and you
it?
just saw the unique difference between the two of us right there.
I see it as, if you're going to parachute out of an airplane, you have people who they want to unpack the parachute and make sure that it's doesn't have any holes in it.
That's him.
And then you have the thing about that though is if you unpack the parachute, you're not going to jump off the plane.
That's right.
Because you just unpack the chute, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have you're going to have fear. You're jumping out of an airplane, right? Especially if it's your first time. But you have to have enough trust and confidence and have people in your corner that pack that parachute well for you.
Right.
And I think that's what you guys do for business owners.
Yes, and for each other too.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really funny because I am the one that says I'm jumping, and he's like, well, but wait a minute, is there something that's gonna help
He's
you
like,
down there?
Put your chute on first. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm good. I'll figure it out on my way down.
Yeah.
And you know what? It always works out. I just leave it up to the universe to help me get to where I need to be, and you know what? I just trust. I just trust that everything is gonna be all right.
Yeah. That's a big factor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
One, confidence, keeping your word to yourself builds a lot of confidence, but also having trust that even if you fail, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not a permanent failure. Like, it's going to be okay. And, David Meltzer, a friend of mine, he talks a lot about, he lost over $100 million. Talk about a fail. Like, I every time he tells that story, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then got right back up and made it back tenfold, within a few years. And so I look at people like that and think, okay, if you can fail that big, I can handle the stuff that I'm going through and keep going, right? Great to have mentors in your life like that.
Well, it's one of those things that, you know what? I feel confident that if I fail and lose money, I can stand back up and make it again because I still have the ability to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
It is when it's a one-time wonder or one-hit wonder, right? And then you're like, okay, what do I do now? I lost all this money. I'm just going to go and be in a fetal position in the corner. Oh, I mean, money is money.
Yeah.
You know, you'll make, just go
But
make
that's
some
what
more.
you've learned from that's when I said those people are like, oh, I made a bunch of money in
Yeah.
1 month, and I'm like, well, you can't coach me
Yeah.
because I need you to have failed before, and that's where you
Yes.
get that confidence that if I made $1 million this month and lost it all next month, I'm okay because I've learned enough lessons through my lifetime that I know
Exactly.
I can make it again.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And you know, one thing also as a coach that we do, and we do it well, and even before we became coaches, as business entrepreneurs, we embody what we teach and who we are and what we are trying to communicate. You know,
Yeah.
so it's important as a coach to embody the lifestyle that you're trying to sell these people to live by.
Yes,
right?
being authentic is very
Absolutely.
important.
It's so critical. So I know I do, and I have my routines, and that's what's made us successful. And
But I think that authenticity is why she is so good at what you started this with, the connecting.
Yes.
Because one of the key things is, you know, most programs, if you go in coaches, they have a set, defined process. We have pillars for our process. Where those go after we start them, I don't know.
Right.
Because we do it it's an immersive approach. And so you're in a room with somebody for 8 hours straight, 2.5 days. You're going to get to know them.
Yeah.
And if you're not authentic, then they're going to figure it out.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, you know, Madeline is such a great person to be in front for us, is because she is who she is every day. And you know, I always say it. Sometimes you love her, and sometimes you only like her. But
I love her all the time.
I know, but I'm married. But no, but you really have to be that in order for your clients
Yes.
and the people that you network with to trust you. And
Yeah.
trust is the word.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why we put it in our business name.
Yeah, and I think it's also your spirit, right? Like your business is helping people succeed, but even people that aren't doing business with you, you automatically want to help them succeed.
Absolutely.
And it's so authentic, you know, something that's super authentic to who you are, that I never question why you guys are so successful. Like, it comes off so easily and authentic, and I just love you guys. So tell our listeners, if they wanted to reach out to you, if they want to, you know, get your services or have you on their shows, how can they reach you?
for me, where I play, because I love, professional level, it's not Instagram. Not Instagram, but it is LinkedIn. So I am just under my name, Madeline Ricci. Anybody can reach me out there and send me a DM, and I'll be happy to answer it.
Okay. And what about your domain, your URL?
So mine is davidjricci.com.
Okay.
And they can reach me on LinkedIn. They can message me through the website, or they can just call me.
Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
your website.
My number is 214-636-6331.
Perfect. And we'll put it in the information below as well.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks for coming out. It's been great talking to you guys. We'll have to have you back soon.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Thanks for watching this week's Fight to Fly. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Fight to Fly. And don't forget to subscribe for even more motivational content and lessons from high achievers. We love to hear your feedback, so be sure to comment and rank us below and tell us what you got out of today's show, be it a laugh or a lesson. And catch us next week on the Fight to Fly show.